Welcome back to a brand new episode of the Jordan Davis Podcast. I am your host, Jordan Davis, and on today's episode, I am very excited to talk about my top two topics for the episode, and that is Percy Jackson and the live action making of Disney's Hercules. So I guess you can say this is more of a Greek mythology kind of centric episode I have for you today, but it's gonna be an awesome one. We'll be talking about what can we expect from the live action TV adaptation of Percy Jackson and how everything could go, who's gonna be cast, who's gonna be the showrunner, and everything like that. And also I'm gonna be talking about pretty much the same thing about the live action Hercules. How I've been wanting a live action Disney Hercules, how it was in the animation, I think around 97, 98, and I'm glad Disney is finally going to do that because there could be some really good things um, coming from Disney between those two subjects. So I'm going to talk about those today. So first of all, let's start with Percy Jackson. I think that's out of the two topics I'm talking about today. I think that's the one I'm most excited for because that's really my favorite books I've ever read because I remember reading them as I was a teenager because I actually saw the Lightning first, the movie, and said, "Oh wow, that's a pretty good movie." But once I read the book, it was like, "Whoa, the movie was pretty bad," you know. So the book is totally better. And to be perfectly honest with you, all of the Percy Jackson books are like top tier, great reading material that could be turned into awesome television. Yes, even though I know the movies did not work out, and that's a shame because it could have been big in the movies. But I also think this gives um, Percy Jackson fans and for people who do not know about Percy Jackson a lot a lot better understanding why Percy Jackson is so good. And especially with the whole Greek mythology stuff going around, no one is doing Greek mythology. No one is tapping into the great story, the great myth. That is Percy Jackson. That is Greek mythology because there's so many um, stories you can tell in live action. And hey, maybe you can do an animation. But either way, there's so many things you can go with Greek mythology. It's it's a pretty awesome thing to do, and something that no one has really gone in and really get their hands dirty on, because we have pretty much superheroes. Everybody's really gone into superheroes or horror or whatever you can think of, but they're never really got into the myth of Greek mythology. I mean, you have a couple of things like Troy. They talk about uh, Odysseus, um, Achilles, about the story of how Achilles was a tragic story and all of that. Because even though Troy really wasn't that good, I kind of appreciated that they kind of did some Greek mythology because that's kind of my favorite mythos. To be perfectly honest with you, my favorite mythos is Greek mythology, and it's kind of funny. The Percy Jackson books got me into Greek mythology. Really got me to read and really know about everything that Greek mythology is. So that's another reason I gotta thank the Percy Jackson books. It got me into Greek mythology. Really got me to understand that. And so now going back to the whole Percy Jackson TV show. Now I thought it was pretty interesting that they were doing this because I had I had no knowledge of this at all, you know, because even though I was been a big fan of the books, there's been a couple of years as that any of an adaptation was pretty quiet. Yes, I even know there was musicals, which I thought the musical was pretty good, and that was written by the fans. I, I think that was pretty much the best Percy Jackson um kind of live action kind of thing we've seen, because anyone have seen the movies, we all know they're not good. They're okay as movies, but for book fans, I mean, you're trying to adapt the book, it's not good. It's pretty bad, to be honest. Um, and that's me from liking the movies the first time around. And when I read the book, and then when I go back to read the movies, watch the movies actually, I see that it's not good. And what they did with Sea of Monsters, it really, really wasn't good. They kind of ruined it, the whole franchise. But I think what they're gonna do here on Disney Plus is perfect for Percy Jackson. You have a chance to actually tell these stories how you want in the books, kind of like how you would tell The Mandalorian. As we all know what The Mandalorian is on Disney Plus, the Star Wars, and how they have done so good on that series on Disney Plus. And when I was first heard this announcement, it was like, okay, that's awesome. But what other information can we have about this TV show, this live action TV show? And the author, now I might say his name wrong, Rick Riordan. He's going to be heavily involved in every situation and every aspect of this TV show. So he's going to review scripts. He's going to help cast. He's going to do everything he can. Now, I don't think he's going to be the showrunner. I think he's going to be kind of a what George R. R. Martin was early in Game of Thrones, because he was pretty heavily involved in that show. And obviously they had the first 5 books of Game of Thrones. And after that it kind of went downhill and everything. But those first 5 seasons, what really made that show famous. And luckily for Percy Jackson, they got all 9 books they can take from. They can go from Percy Jackson and the Olympians. They can go from Percy Jackson, Heroes of Olympus, and they could do all of that. And so you have your material. You don't have to wait so long and make up your own material. So I think that's pretty good. And I'm not going to be worried about the budget, because I think all these Disney Plus TV shows will have movie style budget. They will have the same kind of budgets as Falcon and the Winter Soldier and all those Marvel movies, uh, TV shows. They have movie kind of budgets, and I expect Percy Jackson to have that same kind of budget, because if you watch The Mandalorian, that looks like that can be on theater. That looks quality movie budget. So there's a lot of things to be excited about, and I've even been thinking about fan casting. You know, I've been thinking about, okay, we all know we're gonna have some unknowns here, right? For the kids, for Percy, for Annabeth, for Clover, for Luke, for Carice, for all of the demigods. We all know they're gonna cast young, 12-year-old. Now, will it bother me that they're not exactly 12-year-olds? I mean, no, not really. It won't bother me that they have to be exactly 12 years old. That won't bother me. As long as they look young enough to be 12 years old. Like, let's say you're 13, 13, 14. That's okay with me. As long as they look like a 12-year-old kid, you know? If they're close to being 12, I'm okay with that. And it's kind of the same thing with superheroes. If they can get the spirits and they really what makes that character in the books, I'm all for it. Cast them. And because I think there's some really exciting things that's gonna be really cool to be on screen from the Lightning Thief book. So, like, I think one of my favorite moments I'm looking forward to is when Poseidon actually claims Percy, because once he is. It's really, really much better in the book, but than it was in the movie. But if they can do what they did in the book, put on screen, I'm gonna be a happy Percy Jackson fan because other news that is coming out that Rick Riordan is also writing the the pilot outline. So I think that really proves to Percy Jackson fans that he's going to be so heavily involved with this TV show that I think it's going to be like 100 times better than what the movies were. And I think that's good. It's going to keep us calm. But going back to the casting, I think for me, if I was gonna cast like the gods, I would cast. I think my one cast that I would wish that they keep would be Sean Bean as Zeus because like the movies or not, Sean Bean is just a terrific actor and I loved him as Zeus. You know, he was so good at Zeus. He really was. And maybe they'll just choose some other big name because you have to think of it as a business kind of thing. If you're gonna do unknowns, you're gonna have to get some pretty big names to come get other people to watch your show because if you're just getting unknown, no one's gonna really be interested into your TV show or your movie. So that's kind of the thing. You gotta have to have a big name to carry your show or your movie until that unknown really gets big and famous so it can carry it on its own. Same thing with Game of Thrones. You pretty much had a lot of unknowns in that first season because they put like Sean Bean on the covers as like he's the one you want to watch, he's the one you want to follow until he died at the end of the first season. And we saw what the story was truly about. But I'm hearing like a lot of people want Mark Hamill to be in the cast. Hearing a lot of great fan casting from the Percy Jackson community, which I think they're all great. But I think the one thing that I'm looking forward to and very interested in, I want to see what the showrunner is. Who they get as the showrunner. I think that's going to be very interesting because I'm not sure if people know about this, but the showrunner is super, super important to your TV show. Super important. He is pretty much your director to your movie. That's the same thing of what a showrunner is to a TV show. It can make or break your TV show. It could be successful or it could fail. And I think that's going to be one of the big things this TV show can be. If you can get a good showrunner for this show, hey, that can be great. And you know, from all I've heard, I don't think I have a lot of worries from for the Percy Jackson show TV show on Disney Plus because everything I'm seeing and what I know what comes from a Disney Plus TV show, they're gonna give them the budget that they need. They're gonna give them everything that you would need to make this show successful. And with Rick Riordan then very closely with that TV show of Percy Jackson, I think everything could go pretty good. Now, I think my only thing that would scare me is having a season more than 10 episodes. I think this this episode this TV show need to be around 6 to 8 episodes like The Mandalorian. I think that's a pretty good way because you're pretty much getting an 8 hour movie. Let's be honest, you're getting an 8 hour movie. So I think that would be perfect for season one. And I think as more you go on in seasons, you could, you know, put a couple more. But when you read the Percy Jackson and the Olympians books, they're not really that long, to be honest. It's more of the Heroes of Olympus. Those are, you know, really long. Those are thick books. Um, so I think that's really what I'm excited. I think I'm really excited for Heroes of Olympus. So, so Percy and the Olympians have to be good to get to Heroes of Olympus. That's really, where you want to go. So, like I said, for all you Percy Jackson fans out there, we finally got a TV show, a live action TV show. And, I am just so excited because I've been waiting for this for so long, for so long. And I'm just glad that we're finally getting it. And I know we're not going to hear much about what's going to happen with the TV show, showrunner, casting, auditions, and all of that. We're not going to hear much for it. We might not even hear it maybe towards the end of summer, the beginning of fall. We might not hear much, but there are reasons to get very, very excited about this, and this could be the next big TV show. Now, I'm not saying it's going to be Game of Thrones level. I'm not saying now because it's pretty much going to be a kids show, a live action kids show. But I think it's gonna be kind of a any kind of age person can watch the show. Yes, it's gonna be for preteens, but I think kind of like the Pixar movies. Doesn't matter how old, how or how young you are, you can watch it and enjoy it. And I think that's gonna be cool about that series, about the Percy Jackson series, and how far we can get with that series from Disney Plus. So I mean, right now it's just a waiting game, and we're gonna have to see how this all turns out and everything. So yeah, that's gonna be exciting. So yeah, so now going on to the live action Disney Hercules. So I was very shocked and also surprised that we were getting that because we were seeing Disney doing like Lion King, Beauty and the Beast, all their big movies turning into remakes. And to be perfectly honest with you, most of them really prefer the animated versions of those movies. But I think it was mainly Jungle Book that I really, you know, I might like a little bit better than the animated one because really, Jungle Book, the animated one, is just nostalgic for me. I love that movie and everything about it. Just gives me back good memories to my childhood. But I think Hercules is just it's to me it's a really underrated movie because it has so many good things in it. It has like in my opinion, it has two of the top 10 Disney songs. In my opinion, it has um actually oh I'll take that back. It has about three of three songs in the top 10 because you got Zero the Hero, you got Going the Distance, and it's that song that Meg sings. Oh, why is it? It's not coming to me at the moment, but it's a really great song that she sings after she has this kind of date with Hercules. But so when I heard that news that they're making a live action Hercules movie, it was like I was so ecstatic. And even more interesting that the Russo brothers are producing it. So I was like, huh, that's very interesting. I didn't think they would do that. So but we really don't have any idea of who's going to direct it. We just know who's behind it. Um, the Russo brothers and all that. And and also, um, the person that is writing Wonder Woman 84 is writing the movie, is writing the script. So that's something to look out for Wonder Woman 84, how good that is and how it would translate to the live action Hercules movie. And all immediately I said, "Oh, you gotta bring back Danny DeVito as the satyr, as Phil." No doubt in my mind. CGI it if you have to, but and and you can actually keep the songs in Hercules. I mean, you could cast some great singer for Meg because I've already been seeing online um Ariana Grande as Meg, and it's like, yeah, that would fit. But I don't see her as that could be like that sassy kind of. sarcastic kind of character, but she has one heck of a voice. So she could be Meg. I would just have to see how she would do as the character without singing, because we know she can sing. And I mean, and with casting Hercules, you could get someone like Chris Hemsworth. I mean, with going the distance, you can get like a young Herc or Hercules that can sing, because in the whole movie, grown up Hercules does not sing in the whole movie. So it's mainly the people that sing is young Hercules, Meg, and the Muses. Those are the ones that sing, the Muses mostly. So I think a must for me for the Hercules is really, I would say, for the music, Zero the Hero and Going the Distance. I think so. I think that would be, important. Um, because there is so many ways you can go with casting in this movie. I've been hearing a lot of people say Robert Downey Jr. for Hades, and to be perfectly honest, that would be really funny as Robert Downey Jr. as Hades. So I think that would be really funny to see Iron Man, Tony Stark, Robert Downey Jr. now playing as Hades as a villain. I think that would be really cool. Um, which I think would be pretty interesting to see. But yeah, I just think it's really interesting that Disney is really getting into Greek mythology, because I know Greek mythology, like I said earlier in this podcast, Greek mythology really doesn't have that good of a record. I mean, Clash of the Titans was really not that good. Uh, in the 80s when there was a Clash of the Titans, but it was okay, nothing special. But I think for Disney to really step their toe in Greek mythology where no one else can, and if it turns out really good, oh man, it's gonna be big. It could be really, really big. So, yeah, I'm excited for Hercules. Even though we only know who's producing it and who's writing it, I mean, I'm still excited to see what they're going to do. So, yeah, it's just, I think that's really got me excited over this lockdown. It's like, because there has been nothing going on. The only thing that be going on in the movie business is releases being pushed back. And even though that those are going to be pushed back, I have to tell you, 2021 is going to be the year of entertainment, especially in movies. We got so many movies coming out in 2021. So, so many being in development, for being filmed, from movies for potentially coming out in 2021. So I think that's going to be very interesting to me, that what 2021 can be, and how exciting, and what could we expect from the movie business, from movies, from television, from all of that. So that should be very exciting to me, of where it could all go. So yeah, yeah, I think that's gonna be the podcast for today. First of all, I want to thank you all who have subscribed and who have listened to me. And I know I haven't been putting out content for the longest time. And for those who have sticked with me, and those who are listening to me and my voice right now, I just gotta say thank you. Thank you for staying here with me, and thank you for staying subscribed to me. And like I said, I'm gonna try to put up more content the best I can. And so hopefully you stay with me and just keep on uh listening to me. And like I said, I gladly appreciate it. And hopefully there is more content, more things to talk about in this lockdown, in this coronavirus, that we can discuss more things. So yeah, this is gonna be the end of the podcast. So hopefully I'll be making some very soon. And until next time, I hope you have an awesome and blessed week. Till next time, bye.